So hello everyone, welcome to another video on Video Geeks, and this is nothing but a uh, software group project report, or should say it's nothing but an software requirements specifications or SRS, or you can also consider it as a project report. So we made this a long while back when I was in college, and this is nothing but written by me only. So in today's video, we or I want to discuss what should be the importance and motive behind drafting this document. So without wasting much time, let's get started where we will see the real life application and the incident that happened with me, with a bunch of people for like with me to discuss. So let's get started. So hello people, welcome to the Video Geeks. So today we have Aayushyamaan and Dev Kunale on the table for the discussion, and we should not waste much time and just let's get started guys with the topic. And today I want to discuss like what should be the importance of learning software engineering subject. So if you guys have some points to put on the table, you are most welcome to do that.
Well, software engineering has been quite a challenging topic, to be honest, since this particular subject is like hated by almost everyone. And being your senior, where I was given a few opportunities to teach you guys, I know how difficult it is to teach as well.
Yeah
So, yeah,
guys.
uh, I believe that is. What I see that it is a hard topic for at least a teacher to teach, where students are not trying their best to understand. But again, it is a really helpful topic as it teaches you the core fundamentals of how a software should be built and what actually will help it survive when it is growing or expanding to millions of users.
Yeah, and sorry guys, like who are listening to this video right now, I just forgot to mention that Ayushman Sai is one of my seniors, and Dev is like he is with me only, so he was in my batch. So yeah, Dev, do you have some points to be put on the table?
Yeah, I strongly agree on what Ayushman said, but I want to add just a single word to that, which is industry. So the subject is basically teaching you how to what you will be doing in at industry level after you graduate. So it's a really important one. On top of that, all the stuff that Ayushman said. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So we have good points on the table, and with both of you guys, I should also share like what I think about the software engineering subject initially. So when obviously
Yeah.
I was in college, like we were in college there, and this subject was first introduced, no one took it seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah, even I was not that much into this subject, because uh, like initially if you think like when we were making the software group project, so software group project is nothing but in subject where you should make some project, something out of your whole semester, right? So when we were asked to make some subjects, and this SCP was included a year before this subject was there in our study. So before this subject, before we were exposed to this subject, there were two SGP that we had to cover, and those two SGP subject we made two separate projects, two separate software piece of code. But we were not aware, we were not much aware about the subject. So those two projects that we did, there were no planning, no software engineering included, and whatever things that were built for those two projects, right? So what we think about SGP is right now is like when we were first introduced to this subject. At that point of time, let's consider me sitting at the first lecture of software engineering. So what I used to think about SCP is, let's say we just need to make a project. We don't know much about the project. Who is going to use it? Why we should make it? What are the technologies that we should use? And why these technologies are suitable? Why this technology only, and why this why we should use only this? Why not other? So these are the points that these are the things that will be coming in my mind. So yeah, it was not at all important subject for all of us. What do you think, Ayushman? If you were at that point of time?
See, when I actually first came in the first subject of software engineering, it was during the time of my diploma. For those of you who don't know, I did a diploma in at Rajkot, and then I did my degree on computer engineering from University of Science and Tech. Right. So when I was in my diploma, this was the subject that was in our second semester, and the first session that I ever joined for software engineering, the first question that our faculty asked us was that, do you know what actually software is? So starting from that particular question, there are many different questions that come up after that, but do you know what actual software is? Since this subject is taught as a fundamental subject in most of the colleges, this particular question may sometimes not be answered correctly, right? So my faculty always used to ask us questions, and this was the first one every time in that class. I've attended their class for multiple different semesters because I used to teach alongside them as well, and even during my diploma days.
Oh, that's great.
So even during those classes, he used to ask the same question every time. So, Henel, do you know what software is?
Yeah, I was not aware about when I was first exposed to this subject, but right now I think what software is, it's nothing but a piece of code which like takes some input and produces some output. But that should also be like the process that is happening, like taking some input and processing it and making an output, producing an output. That should be like within some requirement, or I should say like software is something that is our daily life task or something, like it should automate something, it should do something useful. So that's what I think as a software it is.
Okay, I believe that is a good answer in terms of being experienced. So let me ask the follow up question. What is a project?
Okay, that seems confusing. Like if you think software is a piece of code, then project should be like the way we make software. I don't know if I'm
See,
correct.
that is where many of the people fail, because a project is not just how you make the software. It is all about delivering it to the end client and having them satisfied. A product or a project starts from the idea that is there is some issue with the system, or someone wants something new in the system, right? So
Yeah,
everything
exactly.
starts at a point where someone has a need of something, or you are creating a need for something. It goes from the ideation stage to development to, first it goes to planning. There are multiple people involved, from design perspective, from business logic perspective, to actual technological perspective as well, right? So a project is combination of multiple people working on a single idea that can either solve something or add something to something else.
Okay, okay. That's a I think great clear explanation about like what's the difference between software and the project. And just a little bit diversion from this topic, I should share my screen.
No, now let me come to the actual point why I was asking these two questions.
Okay, okay.
Now, you know about the project, and you know about what is a software, right?
Yes.
Now, if you are doing a project in your like, let's say you want to develop something, how will you approach it? So there's three questions, that is, what is a software, what is a product, and how will you approach a project, right, that is made out of software. So how will you approach it?
Okay, that's, I think that's nothing but the software engineering, right? Like
That is
we
software engineering, but then again, the main thing is, these three when you try to answer these three questions, you come up with so many different questions. How will we approach it? As you already said, there are many questions that you had.
yeah, yeah, agree. See, uh, if you talk about what are the ways we can approach to a project, then again, it's because I learned those things in my software engineering. I would answer, there are some models that you can apply, like agile model or waterfall model, or there are so many other. I don't know the each and every one of them, but yeah, I am aware about these things.
So once you questions, then and then only you will actually understand why software engineering is important, because it answers all the questions that you face.
Okay, sorry, a little bit, Aishman. Before we proceed with this further, I need to diverge a little bit somewhere. So, see, can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, so these are the two books that are provided by the college to us when we were like started to learn this software engineering. So the first book that I got to know is this. I don't know if people usually go through these books or not, but I was that guy who go through these books like at least once. If I'm not referring it as a whole, but I should give it a try. Like what's that book is all about. Just I go through once at least. Okay, this is the kind of a guy I am. So this is the first book that I got from the college professors. That is by Rajib Mall. It is of software fundamentals of software engineering, fourth edition. Okay, it was written in 2040, and when we were introduced to this subject, it was 2019 or something. No, not 2019. Actually, we started our college in 2020, and it was introduced in third year. So it should be 2022 end or 2023 starting. Okay. So see, first thing that you should note is it is a pretty much old book. And see,
Yep.
yeah, see this graph. Evolution of technology with time. So it says, I don't know, but this graph was when I saw this for the first time, it was very intriguing. Like I was very amazed to see this graph, but right now I don't even understand like what is the significance of putting this graph over here. Like if you guys can grasp any idea out of this graph.
See, let me explain this graph. First of all, this is over time, and as you can see, the x-axis is related to time, right? So in this graph, what it is shown that at the first stage, that is when the software engineering actually started, people were usually just relying on art pieces, that is, they'll sketch out something on a piece of paper and then make something out of it, or they will write out something on a piece of paper in the books and then use that for development, right? And then when they fail, they usually did not write why they failed, what they actually did, right? And later on they started doing that. They started writing things down in detail, that is why they failed and what was their achievement, what actually they did to achieve a success or to achieve the failure, right? So once from the starting it was nothing, then they started writing, then they started writing in detail about their past, and Then comes the craft part, right? So as you can see, after writing so many things, there is a flat line. uh, in that flat line, you can see that people are not using their, it is written that unorganized user past experience. This was because when people write it down, it was usually in their books, and those books never gets published or used by other people, right? So it was a very clumsy process at the time to even share the data that you generate or your experience that you gain, right? So uh, at that point, people started finding ways on how to share this data, because there might be some experiment that I have done, there might be some experiment you're done, we might be working on the same thing, but we don't know what you have already done or what I have already done, and we might be doing the same thing over and over again, right? You might be failing at a point and I will be failing at that point again. Then what is the use of that particular thing if I'm writing it down, if I'm not sharing with others, right? So uh, then the people started finding how we can share this data. That is the craft part. And then once they figured it out, okay, now sharing the data works like this, so how we can use this data, that is then people started developing actual systems to use that data in a way that it will help them fine tune the process that they are using for development. So let's say you failed it once over here, coming to software engineering itself. If you have failed by writing a for loop in a certain way, and you know that, you can use that particular data when you are writing some other project, doing some other project where you actually need that data, right? You need to do a similar loop, and you know that this will not work, then you will not do it. That is one point. And then there is also a method, that is okay, if I'm writing a code in a certain manner, the code is less bound to fail, right? So when people started sharing this particular data, a system started forming, and this particular system gave rise to actual engineering. So that is this particular graph. From just writing it down personally, then it started becoming a common knowledge. Then people started sharing and generating systems. And as soon as they started generating systems, it gives rise to technology.
Okay, okay. So I guess that's a very good explanation of this graph, and this graph is pretty actually self-explanatory. If you just look it for 2-3 minutes, you will understand it by yourself, because it's really an easy graph for you to understand actually. But like when I shared this thing, yeah, and one more thing, Ayushman, I don't know if it is this guy only, like Rajiv. We had an interaction session, an expert session actually in our college, where Rajiv Mall was present itself, taking lecture on software testing. I guess, if can you correct me, like Dave, if you are aware about this thing? Did we had a session with Rajiv Mall?
I believe we did, but
Yes,
I
it
think I
was
was
a
not
virtual
present.
meeting. I do
Yeah,
remember.
Yeah, 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 right. So we had an actual session with this guy only who wrote this book. So I just want to know if they had upgraded these things. So let's just go for Charu set. Let's say second here. I just want to know what are the references for software engineering that they have like pinged over here right now. Before actually moving for the further discussion, I would like to check that, because actually this is very interesting to see. Like, okay, they
There you
don't.
go. Rajib Mall, fourth
yep,
edition.
it's still fourth edition.
Yeah, see, let's search. Uh, Rajiv, right? Rajiv Mall, software engineering, latest edition. Okay, fifth edition from Rajiv Mall, I guess. Okay, okay, okay. But why they didn't upgraded this book? Do they have any particular reason? Then they Then the other thing is Roger S. Pressman software engineering, but practitioner approach. Okay. Then they have something called virtual lab link. Then they have a course. Then they don't have any YouTube list. Okay, they have faculty presentations.
Yeah, if any faculty is watching this video, please do update that.
Yeah. First thing, this is a course on Coursera for agile software development on this thing. Then they have okay virtual labs, software engineering objectives, list of experiments, identify the requirements. Okay, these are the standard labs that we have in our like for this subject. These are the labs that these are the only labs that we have in this course, right? If I'm not wrong. Faculty presentation. Let's just look at it. Okay, I think this is pretty much just the standard templates. We should not look into those templates right now. But yeah, that's it. That's it, guys. We should not look at our college stuff right now because it's too late. Okay. Then I think it's a good time for me to ask. But again, this is a very stupid question or very common question that that everyone would ask. So, guys, Aishman and Dev, have you ever used software engineering in your life? Like we all are working for a professional now. I am pretty sure that it's not that much of time that you have spent in this whatever era or this position whatever
I
we have.
mean,
Yeah, go ahead.
it is like the same question as, are you using 2 plus 2 is equal to 4 in your daily life? So
Okay.
the direct answer is no, right? But in fundamental way of approaching any problem, doing any project, yes, it has been used, some part of it.
Okay. So you mean to say when you do your office work, so basically you are in corporate, and if you were to use the software engineering in your daily projects, it's not like it's not that much of a big deal for you. You use it as you go.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Okay. And Ayushman, what do you think if, let's say, we want to push this software engineering, like we want to push more people to know and to learn this subject very carefully. So, what do you think we should do? Like, we all know that software engineering is very good subject for us to learn because the process that we were talking about, right? To deliver a project, to deliver a project, to deliver a piece of code to someone. That's a not. I should say that's not an easy task to do. So, what do you think we should do or one should do?
See, I believe it is a very big misconception that you are not using software engineering, the core concepts of it in your day-to-day life as a software developer or someone in the industry of IT. Right. See, software engineering concepts are not there to learn the theory. They are to understand how the actual process should work in the terms that how will you build a software more efficiently, and should you even try doing that in the first place. So if you are not using it in your day-to-day life, you might not know you are using it. There are many times I have seen that people are using the same concepts such as a normal waterfall model in their day-to-day life, and they don't
Yeah,
even know what a waterfall model is, right? So that is a thing that many people don't realize while they actually are using. But apart from that, even if you are not using it, even though you know what are the concepts and you know that you are not using it, there are places in your company, let's say the higher ups, they are using it just to have the order in the chaos. So when it comes to people who are just there to run the company, they are not they do not have time to realize that they won't go asking other people what the status of a particular project is, right? They just want a brief answer. How do you do that, right? So software engineering tells you that how you can just sum up everything especially in the agile model where there are daily meetings with your managers, right? You have scrum calls. These are the ways that you deliver the data, or you can say deliver the information more efficiently to people who are actually managing the things, right? So there are many different places where actually it is used and it is helpful to people in real world.
Okay, but these are the things that you have observed and you have experienced. Okay, or one should experience
Yeah.
it later on in his or her life, right? After going through these subjects, they don't know, like, while they are learning this subject, they don't know the importance. But same goes for you and me and everybody else. They will experience this thing eventually. So let me be honest. The first thing that I want to share is when I was learning this subject, when I started learning this subject in college, what I used to do is, see, they when they teach you this subject, there are certain documents they share with you, right? So there are several documents. I should name it. So the first one is software requirement specification, then software planning, then software testing. There are a bunch of documents. And what we used to do is, Aishman, we just take references from the older people, or from your batch, because from actually, frankly speaking, from our seniors, we took the reference, we copied all of those snippets, all of those things that were there in their documentations. We just copied them in our documents. We just modified them a little bit, and we delivered it in our project. So that we have did. So that raises a question, like, what is the really important or significance of requirement gathering? Because that's a big question, or that's the first thing that you will be doing while learning the software engineering subject.
Yeah.
And can you repeat your question? I'm a bit confused with it.
Okay. So see, uh, I just want to know, like, what is the importance of requirement gathering? Because that's first thing that you will do while learning this subject, right? They will give you some task that you should use these techniques. There will be bunch of techniques that you should use while gathering the requirements for the software that you are going to make eventually.
Okay. So again, uh, as such, if you're doing a mini project or something that you alone are building, right, just to have some fun, this might not be really a point that you'll even consider in the first place.
Actually,
But coming to real world projects where you want to build something that many people will use, let's say tens of thousands of people need to use your software, right? So first of all, what you need to do is you need to understand who are your end users. You need to understand the market. You need to understand what your competitions are, what they are providing, what the targeted audience actually needs. And there are many different factors that you need to consider. And software requirement specification or software the requirement gathering phase is actually to answer all these questions beforehand, before you even start building the software, so you know what you need to do in the first place. Because unless you know your audience, unless you know the requirements, unless you know what the market is like, just building something from scratch won't work.
okay, that's a really good explanation from you, Ashman. And uh, just to share as an experience, I have some things to show. So, as we talked about, so this software requirement specification document or requirement gathering for your software project, right? See, uh, I started a one project. I should share my screen. Just a second, guys. So, can you see the screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So, this is a document. for a project report that I have submitted with this guy and under the guidance of this particular person, and I submitted to university. Okay, so this was created uh, in sixth semester by me and Hit. Okay, it is one of my college mate. For the people who are watching this video, and you guys, Dev and Ayushman, these guys, both guys know this person. Okay, so the project was GUI based NSC code generator. So this idea was initially thrown us by this guy. He is Dr. Ites Patel, and the only guy whom I admired the most when I was in college. Okay, so see, we as I said, I was not aware about this the importance of these things, the software engineering subject and anything else. Okay, and as we have talked about the software requirement specification, I should share this thing. Okay, so the first thing that I would like to share with this project is the project summary or the introduction. So these are the everything that you like, the everything that you see over here in this document is purely AI generated. Okay, and there are just a project summary and overview that is written by me. Okay, and the project was all about the GUI interface for some NS3, and NS3 is nothing but a event based network simulator. For the people who are watching this video, for them I would like to just clarify that NS3 is nothing but a you can say it's a library, and there are certain classes and certain structures and everything else included. Okay, there are certain packages. Okay, and you need to write a C++ code to simulate networking topologies or something like that. Okay, so basically was project was all about this GUI, and this was the first thing that we made. And what we used is, we used something called Python to create this GUI, and this GUI like automate the generation of first.cc file. And what is first.cc file is nothing but a point-to-point communication between nodes. Okay, and this is nothing but a GUI to generate a code for two nodes connected with a single piece of wire. So this GUI that you are seeing over here, that automate that stuff, so we don't have to write. And we did nothing, Ash bro and Dev. Let me tell you, we just made this in one night. And what we did is that where there were like variable fields, we took all of those variable fields and we straightforward gave an input field for all of those variable fields. And there is this one generate file button, which when you press after filling this all of the fields, you will have your code ready in your hand. And this is it. We made nothing out of this project. And you know what are the limitations that we have mentioned? Okay, so these are the limitations that we have mentioned. Limited protocol support. Yes, because it was only point-to-point topology, and obviously we actually didn't automated any stuff. See, this is the second point, lack of flexibility. Obviously, because I don't know why we wrote this flexibility, but it is there. User experience. As of now, this software that we are making, it has a very limited user experience because it was nothing, right? It was just the single GUI, single piece of GUI to automate the generation of first.cc file. So these are the limitations that we have wrote. Okay, and these are the improvements. We had also written the improvements as well. See, expanded protocol support, advanced flexibility, and advanced feature support. So from this thing that we have drafted, right, even though this was not drafted from scratch by us only, but these are the things that we had to focus on from now onwards. Okay, so I particularly focused on this thing, limited protocol support and user experience. And then we built something called NS3 GUI helper version, or not the version, just the re-enhancement of that particular thing that we built on Python. So for us, the limitation was also the Python was there, because we were not aware about Python as a whole. Okay, Ashbro. So what we did, we changed to Java because Java has something called Swing GUI, which you can use to design GUI applications. Okay, and okay, so the second thing, so there are a couple of things that we had to rethought. Okay, but just we wanted to focus on these two limitations, that it doesn't include the support, and doesn't include the support for much support for the protocol, and there is less user experience. I thought of going with this Java because I didn't thought anything much because I was much into Java at that particular phase in my life. So I just picked up Java for some reason and started working on this project. And I made an entire project for this in Java, and that is really working good for me. And there are a bunch of people who is working with me on this project. Okay, and this is working very fine. I had given a couple of releases for this open source project, and again, this is one of my greatest project that I think like it is really good if I think from my previous projects. Okay, and this is I want to carry forward also. So this is one of the great project for me. But there are certain issues in this because I was not able to find or not able to do the correct software requirement specification for this. They only think that like there are certain limitations over here also, and those are like let's say I built this project on Java, so there will be less user to use this project, so to use this software and to actually contribute to the project. So there are two sets of people who would like to contribute to this project and who would like to use this project. Okay, both of those would be less because as this is built in Java, there are less people who knows Java or who knows Swing GUI, and there are people who would not like to install Java, or they might feel installing Java as a headache. So for those two reasons, this project is good, but because I didn't had the good software requirement gathering, I failed this project. I failed this project. So finally, I started this third project called Smart NS3, which is nothing but the replication of this project only, but in web GUI. And these are the things that you should read as in description of the project. Okay, so you can read this part. This project NS3 GUI helper was designed to use this phase. And what phase? The early adoption of NS3, while providing GUI interface to generate basic C++ scripts for the NS3, right? Which I think result in ease of learning, adapting, and growing with NS3, because that's the motto of this project. But again, there is one catch for this because it's configured in Java. So there are certain limitations while configuring it. So I am making this project again, and just the very good incident that happened with me and that motivated me to actually, create this video. What do you think, guys?
As I've already said, I believe there are many different questions that should arise when you are actually starting to build something. And I believe I've been since this project actually, you and Heath actually started coding this. I believe I was there as well. And throughout the Java phase, I believe I was there to just be there, helping you out in some places.
Yeah,
Uh, Again, I would not call that project a failure as you are stating, but yeah, uh, seeing the target demographics and how the people are right now, that is, everyone is going for somewhere in React and JavaScript and front end development more and more. So what you are doing is good, and seeing that you are now actually implementing what majority of the people will be using is a step forward in the right direction. So again, software engineering does help it out quite a bit, and this is one of those scenarios where I would say software engineering would have helped you if you had started this early to have the project delivered a bit earlier, right?
Yeah, because what
And
I
along
think
with that,
is,
yeah,
yeah, and because what I think is, like, we could have identified the people who will use this project, because let's say if I'm building this in pure vanilla JavaScript, so I can deploy easily this project on GitHub itself, and people can use it directly through my link. They don't need to have install anything else. They just need internet, and through just that point only, we can gather more people to use the project itself, right?
definitely.
So that's the particular incident that I wanted to share with you guys. Have
Yeah, that's a great way of explaining some of the application of software engineering through this uh, live example that you have created, and I'm sure that will make an impact, a bigger impact sooner or later.
Yeah, see, seeing myself starting, seeing myself starting from the beginning after 3 years of working on the same project, it's really painful for me to start again. But I will definitely want to continue this project alongside with you guys.
Yeah, Video Geeks is watching you. You gotta do that.
Along with that, I would like to add a few things. See, not every person requires software engineering. Not every project that does not follow software engineering will fail. There might be some hidden gems that are not even following any particular architecture or anything, and they might just succeed. But that does not mean that software engineering is useless. Again, as I previously stated, it is something that brings order in chaos, and the entire goal of software engineering is to know that whether you are going to fail or whether you are going to have to invest more time before you achieve success.
Yeah.
So the main takeaway I believe with software engineering is that it's not a compulsory thing to do, but if you do it, your chances to succeed are improved by a lot.
See, guys, I would like to thank you, both of you, like Ayushman and Dev, that you took your time from your life to have a discussion with me on the software engineering.
Mention not my friend.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you. Do you have some any other points
thank you.
for the conclusion?
Nope, I believe that's it.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you all the viewers who is watching till now. And if you have not subscribed to the channel yet, what you're doing, my friend, just subscribe to Video Geeks channel. Hit the like button and share this video for those who you think who might want to learn software engineering, but they are not because their friends are not. Okay, so that's it for this video. We'll meet in the next one. Till then, keep learning and keep exploring. So, bye.